Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to Developer Maroof. In today's lesson, we'll learn about asynchronous JavaScript, like how JavaScript handles operations that take time, like fetching data from servers or waiting for user input. We'll cover callbacks, the event loops, setTimeout, setInterval, and understand why JavaScript doesn't block when waiting for operations to complete. This is a fundamental concept that will help you understand how modern web applications work. So let's start coding. I've already set up our HTML file where I have linked our JavaScript file. Let's get back to our script. So let's start by understanding the difference between synchronous and asynchronous code. So the synchronous code runs line by line, one after another. Like if we write any consoles, let's say log, let's put first message, then we have another log, then we have another log. Let's say this is the second message, this is our third message. So this is how synchronous code works. This is a synchronous code. It runs line by line, one after another. First, it will print first message. You can see in the console, we are seeing first message, then we have second message, then we have third message. So these runs in order, one after another. This is called synchronous code. Let me put heading. Now let me show you asynchronous code. Now asynchronous code doesn't block execution. Let me show you that practically. Let's put a log here. Let's say it is a first message. Then we have a setTimeout function which will get a callback function. Inside that we can put our second log. Let's say second message, and we put some time here. Let's say 1 second, and let's log our third message, and let's comment these out. Now if we save, if you come inside the console, you see our first message, then our third message, then our second message. So you noticed how third message runs before our second message, even though second message is written first. That's because setTimeout is asynchronous. That's why we are getting our second message at last, is because asynchronous code doesn't block execution like this. First it will run this, then if this message takes time in here, it will take 1 second, so it doesn't wait for 1 second to complete. It will go on and move to third message, then print this, then after 1 second it will print this. Even we put 0 here, no second, still we can see we have second message at last because it takes some time. This is how asynchronous code works. I hope you understood the difference between asynchronous code and synchronous code. So let's comment it out and let's move on to our callback functions. So the callback functions are the functions passed as argument to other functions. Let's see practically. So first let's create a basic callback example. Let's say basic callback, and then we can create a function named greet, and we can take name and a callback function. So we have two parameters, one is name, one is callback function. Callback, which is a function, obviously we will pass that function as an argument when we invoke this greet function. So inside that function we can just simply add a log here saying hello, and let's put the name here, sorry, with the $sign. And here we can invoke our callback function, which we'll get from the argument or parameters. And now let's create the function, the callback function, which we will pass as an argument to this greet function. Let's say goodbye, and inside that we can just add a log here saying goodbye. Now let's invoke that greet function, and inside that first we have a name, we can put anything, let's say Maroof, and inside a second argument we can pass our function. In that case I have created say goodbye, so I will invoke that, pass that function. No need to add parenthesis. This is how you can pass function as an argument to another function. Now if you see inside the log, we have hello Maroof, which is coming from here, hello, and there's a name is coming from here, Maroof, and then we have goodbye, which is here, which is a callback function. It is coming from here, and its value is coming from the argument, and inside the argument we have passed say goodbye function, which is this one, so it is coming from here, goodbye. Now let me show you an advanced callback function with a parameter. Let's say callback with parameters, and let's create that function. Let's say process data. Inside that we can have our data and our callback function, and inside that function we can add a log. Let's say processing data, and let's add our data here, and here we can say result equals data, and let's convert that result or data to uppercase, and let's pass our data inside our callback. Okay, Now let's invoke that function process data. Inside that we have two arguments to pass. First is data, so let's say data is JavaScript. This is our data, and inside the second argument we have to pass a function. So let's create a function, arrow function, and we have parameters here, result. So inside that we can just log our processed result and just print our result here. So now when we save, so let's comment this out and save and come to the console. You see, first we are seeing processing data JavaScript as it is. From here it is getting data from our parameters, and we have passed our argument here as JavaScript. So first it will get here, then show us this log. Then we have a second log, process data JavaScript in uppercase, because when we pass our JavaScript as a data, we got our log, then we change that data to uppercase. So it is converted to uppercase now, JavaScript, and stored that JavaScript inside our callback function as a parameter. So that function gets our parameter here, and it is printing our results right here. So this log is coming from here. So this is how you can create callbacks with parameters as well. Let's comment it out. Now we have array methods with a callbacks, like for each map and filter. They also use callbacks. Let me show you that as well. Let's say array methods with callbacks. So let's create array numbers equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see first our forEach. Let's see numbers, forEach. So it is a method, or you can say function. So it will take a callback function. So function inside a function is a callback function. So inside that we can just log our output numbers, and we have to put any parameter here, number. So we will get our numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't know how forEach works, you can check out our previous lessons where we have covered that as well. And now let me show you the map method. Let's say const, let's say doubled equals numbers dot map. It is a function. It will take a callback function. Let's say number, and inside that we can just return, and we just multiply our number with 2, and we can comment it out, and let's log this to see the results. Let's say doubled numbers, and here we just call our variable. So you see we have our new array 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, because we have multiplied each number with 2. So this is for map method, how it use callbacks. Now we have final method, which is filter. So let's create a variable called even, or say events numbers dot filter method. So inside that we have a callback number, and inside that we just return our number modulus 2, which will be equals to 0. So we will get even numbers only. So let's log this to see its results. Let's say even numbers, and let's call our variable here. Save this. You can see we got only our even numbers 2 and 4, because in this array we have only 2 even numbers, 2 and 4, and remaining are odd numbers 1, 3, 5. So this is how array methods works with callbacks. So let's comment it out, and let me show you a bit about the setTimeout, which we have used right here. So let's see the demo of it. Let's say setTimeout. So the setTimeout runs a function after a specified delay. You have seen here, this is a delay. This is where we put the delay. In this case, we have put 1 second. So this function, callback function, will run after 1 second. So let me show you another version of it. Let's say basic setTimeout. So let's create a setTimeout function. Inside that we have a callback function in its first parameter or argument. In this second argument we have an array where we will put our delay. So first we will write our logic inside that function. Whatever you want to run, you just add that inside that function. So in this case I am just logging a message. This runs after 2 seconds. So now let's put a delay here. Inside that we just have to put our delay. I'm putting 2 seconds. You can put 3 or 4 or 5 or anything, like 10, 100, whatever you want. I'm just putting a 2-second delay. So this setTimeout function runs after 2 seconds. So this 2000 is the millisecond. So 2000 milliseconds is equals to 2 seconds. So we put here milliseconds. Now if we refresh, you will see this message will run after 2 seconds. Not before, not after, just in 2 seconds. Refresh, wait. You see, after 2 seconds, we see our message. If we put, let's say 10 seconds, and I put here 10, now I refresh. Now we see we have no message. After 10 seconds the message will appear. So we will wait for 10 seconds to complete. You see we have our message. So this is how setTimeout works. If you want, you can also add setTimeout with parameters. Let's comment it out, and let's create a setTimeout with parameters. Now let's create a function here. Let's say show message. Inside that we have a parameter called message, and we just have to log this message. Here we will say message is our message. So now we will call our setTimeout function. Inside that we have our first parameter, which is a callback function, or you can say function. In this case I'm putting show message function, which I have created here. Right now there is no message, so it is getting undefined. So in the second parameter, you already know we have delay. In this case I'm putting 1 second, and we have a third parameter, which you can say whatever we will put here, it will be our message parameter. Let's say I'm putting hello from setTimeout. If we save, after 1 second our message will appear, message hello from setTimeout. So this is how setTimeout can also pass parameters to the callback. And if you want, we can also store the timeout ID to clear it. Let's see that as well. Let's comment this out, and let's say storing timeout ID. So let's create a variable called timeout ID equals to setTimeout. Inside that we have our callback function, where we will put a log here. Let's say, and let's put a delay here of 5 seconds. So this log will obviously not run if we cleared it. So let's put a message something like that. Let's say this won't run if cleared. So if we want to clear that timeout, you can just put a function clear timeout here, and you just have to put its timeout ID. So this is how you can clear any timeout. Means if you want to clear, you will use clear timeout. Now let me show you in series to help you understand the concept better. Let's say multiple timeouts, and we will put our first log, let's say starting multiple timeouts dot dot. Let's correct our spelling. Now let me put a timeout and our function, and let's add a log here. So inside that callback function we have a log timeout 1. Let's make it 500 milliseconds, so it's 0.5 seconds. Inside that we have 500 milliseconds. Why we are getting error? It is because we put our array here. We just keep it outside, and there is no semicolon here. Save it, and let's create another. Let's say timeout 2. In this case we have 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds. In this case we have, let's say 100 milliseconds, so let's say 0.1 and 1, and let's add our last log, which is all timeouts scheduled. So now let's save and see which runs first and which runs last. Save this, refresh. Now you see first it runs starting multiple timeouts, which is this one. Then it runs all timeouts scheduled, which is the last one, because there is no delay on these logs. The delay happens only for these. So if there's any delay, it will skip that and move to the next. And then we have timeout 3, which is this one, because it has a less delay than the others. It is 100 milliseconds. This is 5 and this is 1 second. So it is the smallest one. So it runs next. Then we have timeout 1, which is 0.5 seconds, which is this one. Then it runs our second timeout, which is this one, which is the largest delayed function. So I hope you have understood the setImOut, how it works. So let's comment it out, and let me show you another method, which is setInterval. setInterval. So the setInterval runs a function repeatedly at specified interval. So what do I mean by that? Let me show you practically. So let's create a counter equals to 0. Now let's create a variable called interval id equals to setInterval, which is our method or function, you can say. It will get a callback function, and inside that callback function we put our counter and increment that counter ++. If you don't know what this ++ means, you can check it out our previous lessons. We have covered all of it. And let's add a log here. Let's say counter, and we will get our counter here. Sorry, we just have to use backticks. And now we put a condition. Let's say if counter is less than or equals to 5, then clear interval. So what is our interval? Our interval id, and then we put a log. So we will see that condition matched. Interval stopped. after 5 counts. This is to prevent the infinite loop, so our program will not crash after this condition. Let's put a 1 second delay. So this runs every second and stops after 5 counts. If we refresh, we will see counter 1, then counter 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. After each second, we are getting our count. If we don't clear that interval, then our program will crash and our application will stop. So we will always use clear interval when we use setInterval, because this run repeatedly. So we need to stop at some point to securely run our application. So if I don't use this, if I comment it out, the loop will go on and never stops, and our program will crash. If we comment it out, you will see count 1, count 2, count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will never stop. If I don't add any delay, any second, it will just go on and on. You can see our program will crash if you do that. So let's uncomment. So this is how setInterval works. I hope you understood. Let's comment it out and move on to our next concept. So our next concept is event loop. So the event loop is how JavaScript handles asynchronous operations. Like, it will tell you synchronous code runs first, then setTimeout callbacks go to web APIs, and after delay callbacks go to callback queue. Like, event loop checks if call stack is empty. If empty, move to callback from queue to stack. So let me show you practically, maybe you understand better. So first let's demonstrate event loop. Let's add a log, let's say start, and then we can put our setTimeout, and let's say log, let's say timeout1, and let's put a delay. Even if I put 0 millisecond, it will not run after this log. If I add any other log, let's say add a log here, middle, and if I put same setTimeout here, and let's say it is 2 setTimeout2 and 0 millisecond, and let's add a log here, let's say end. Save it. So you will see inside the console we have start, middle, end. These logs runs first, even after we put 0 millisecond delay. So it is always these asynchronous codes always runs after synchronous codes. You can see these are the synchronous code. Synchronous codes are the codes where there is no delay, there is no waiting. These are the synchronous code because these codes waits for some time. Even if we put 0 millisecond, it will not run. You can see it runs after the synchronous codes, and these both are the asynchronous code. So this shows how the event loop works. If you want a separate video for that, just drop a comment. I will add in my list and upload it soon. So I think that's enough for this part. Let's move on to our final concept, which is callback hell. So what is callback hell? Basically, callback hell happens when we nest callbacks inside callbacks, making code hard to read. Let me show you how we create nested callbacks. Let's say nested callbacks, which is a callback hell. Let's say function get user data. Let's get our user ID, and here we will get our callback. So this is our function, and let's put setTimeout here inside that function, and we have another callback where we will put log. Inside that log, let's say fetching user data, and let's invoke our callback function here and get our ID, which is a user ID, and get our name, add our name property, and its value will be null, and put a delay of 1 second. So you see, this is a function, this is a callback, and inside that function we have another function which is setTimeout. Inside that setTimeout we have another callback. So we are invoking that callback inside this callback. So callback inside a callback is called nested callbacks, and it is a problem, and that problem we will say callback hell. I'll show you how it works when we invoke that. So let's create another functions. Let's say function get user posts, and get our user ID, and we have a callback here as well. Let's say setTimeout, and inside that we have a callback. We will put a console here. Inside the console we will be fetching user posts, and we will invoke that callback, and inside we have posts, so it is an array. and each post will be an object. We have an ID, let's say 1. We have a title of that post, let's say post 1, and comma, same way we have a post 2 and ID 2. And let's add a delay here, 1 second. So same way we have our last function, let's say get post comments, and we have a post ID, so post ID and a callback and set timeout, and user will fetch comments, let's say comments, and we have a callback, we have an array, we have, let's put a 1 only, let's say grade post is a comment. Save this. Now when we invoke our callback function, let's invoke our get user data function first. Inside that we have a user ID, so it is 1 in this case, and we have a callback function. So let's create a callback function. So this is a callback function, and we put a log here, let's say user, and we have user here, which will be coming from this parameter. Now we will invoke our user posts function. Inside that we have a user ID, so let's say user.id, comma, we have a callback, let's say posts. This is a callback function, let's add a log. Inside that we have posts, and we just put our post here. We have our last function to invoke, post comments. Inside that we have a post ID, so we will put post array 0 index, because there is only one post, so we will get the 0 index post and its ID. And in the second we have a callback where we will get our comments, comments. It is an arrow function, and let's add a log saying comments, and we have our comments here. Let's add another log where we will say all data fetched with callback hell. So if we come to the log, we have fetching user data, which is from here. We have user data here, which has ID 1 and name Maruf, which is from here. Then we have fetching user posts, which is coming from here. It's data posts, which is an array. Inside we have an object right here. We can't see this. Why? Because maybe we made some mistakes. Okay, we made a mistake here. We don't have to put it right here, but here. Save this. We still have something going wrong. Okay, I get it. It is posts, not post. Save this. Okay, now we will see fetching comments from here, and we have an array. Inside we have one comment, which is coming from here. So see how the code get nested deeper and deeper. This is called callback hell. It made our code hard to read, hard to understand. So in the next lesson we will learn promises to fix this. But for this lesson, I think that's it for today's lesson. You just learned about asynchronous JavaScript fundamentals, callbacks, set timeouts, set interval, and the event loop. Let me remind you again, callbacks are functions passed as arguments to other functions, executed later. Set timeout runs code after a delay. Set interval runs code repeatedly. The event loop manages how JavaScript handles asynchronous operations, running synchronous code first, then callbacks. So the callback hell happens when we nest callbacks too deeper, making code hard to read and maintain. In the next lesson, we will learn about promises, a better way to handle asynchronous operations that solves the callback hell problem. If this helped you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone learning JavaScript. Jazakallah khair for watching. Allah Hafiz.